I love belly work, but we don't do enough belly work, do we? We try to avoid this area, and it's too bad because there's so many things that go on in the viscera that need to be mobilized. This is a simple little compacted version of a routine that I've been using for a long, long time. I'd like for you to try this routine. First of all, we were given this web for a reason, and we don't use this web enough. It's really important. Get it as wide as you can. Make sure you can get it wide and soft. So first of all, we see how the costal cage comes down like that. We're going to start by webbing this. Webbing this area, notice how I get my body weight down. This is a one-handed technique, which I typically don't do, and I'm just going to be pushing that tissue up, and I'm going to ask her to take a inhalation, a big inhalation, and I'm resisting. As that diaphragm starts to drop down, I'm resisting that diaphragm from dropping down. Big breath into your lower belly, way down there, way down, good. And then I'm pumping it back up. Big breath and hold it. Big breath and hold it, good. Okay. Next thing I would do, and I would come down to this corner. You got 4 corners. You got that one, that one, that one, and that one, right? So now I'm going to come down and cup the ilium here. So it's a nice, just fits so perfectly in here. And drop my body weight down, and I'm going to ask her to do slow pelvic tilts. Just try to mobilize some of this stuff down here. Particularly, this is where the ascending colon starts to come up. Usually not a problem. Ascending colon problems are typically not a problem. But you want to make sure everything is working fine there. You do this routine on the other side of the table too, but for right now we're just going to do it on one side. Rectus abdominis. The rectus abdominis like to spread, particularly on ladies who are pregnant. They'll start to spread away from the midline. Sometimes you get a condition where the recti diastris starts to spread and tear. My daughter has that problem. I've been working on it, so what I do, I try to move these rectus abdominis back toward the midline. Get your fingers like you're going to fingernail them. This is important. Get in there like you're going to fingernail them. And then get your body weight comfortable and extend those fingers. Hook the rectus. Pick your head up, please. And now you can feel the lateral edge of the rectus abdominis go back down. And now I'm going to scoop it right toward the middle. Kind of in an oblique angle. I'm not going straight in. I'm going into kind of an oblique angle. Head up again, where I can get the lateral edge, and down. This really helps digestion, it helps posture, it helps move that stuff back toward the midline where it belongs. We have a lot of problems with large intestine, small intestine, ileocecal valve. What does the ileocecal valve do? It's the little valve that keeps the large intestine stuff from backwashing into the small intestine, causing conditions called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. To check the ileocecal valve, it's simple. You put a thumb on the ASIS and your middle finger in the belly button, or you can just come like this with 2 fingers, come halfway between there, and that's your ileocecal valve. Counterclockwise, rotate it counterclockwise, just roll it there gently, gently, gently. It can be tender. It likes to lock open and it likes to lock closed, so we're just going to make sure we give it a little rubbing and make it happy. We need to be able to pull some of this stuff out of the floor of the pelvis. All day long, gravity's pulling all of the internal organs down into the floor of the pelvis. That's why so many women, particularly, they got a wider pelvic bowl, get what's called interstitial cystitis, or sometimes extrastitial cystitis, bacterial infection of the bladder. Because that bladder falls right down into the floor of the pelvis, onto the uterus, all that pelvic floor stuff's gone, your pelvic floor tone's gone. Got to find a simple way to kind of drag that stuff out of there, and I really like this. Came up with this in class one day. I'm going to ask her to put her fingers on her pubic bone, so She's familiar with where I'm going to be putting my hand. I'm going to ask her permission. I'm going to come right above it, tell her exactly what I'm going to do, come right above it. And so now she can come back up, and I'm going to place my hand right on the superior border of the pubic, on the pubic bone. Get my body weight down, and I'm just going to, right now, put a pressure straight down toward the table, gently. You got to hook this stuff first before you start moving headward. So I'm just got a constant pressure down, and I'm letting it sink in slowly, real slowly, working at their tolerance level. This should not be painful in any way. Okay, so now that I got that, I'm going to start moving headward. So now I start moving all this tissue headward, pulling it all out of the floor of the pelvis. Now I'm going to ask her to do slow, gentle pelvic tilts. So just a little bit of pelvic tilting in there. That puts an activating force through there. She's doing a little rocking motion. That works. Oh. You're good. Drag that stuff out of the floor of the pelvis. Really, really important. Okay, lie on your left side. Let's do this last thing here. Obviously, you do all these techniques on both sides. Okay, so this is a really fantastic technique. So briefly, we got the ascending colon coming up. We got the transverse colon coming over this way. You got the descending colon coming this way. Where does all the cancer live? It lives over here in the descending colon because you have flexures up here that can get stagnant. Starts up here and it makes it through this flexure, comes across the transverse colon, all right. By the time it gets over here, this flexure gets in bad shape, and then the cancer starts to grow in the descending colon. Whether it's a healthy colon or whatever, you want to just mobilize this stuff. So notice how I have my hip against her buttocks, and I'm just extended arms, and I'm just dragging this descending colon toward me. This feels good. They love it. I do this on a lot of my pregnant women all the way up to third trimester because those rectus abdominis are spreading, and then they don't have any belly support. It makes the delivery a lot worse. Okay, so you have to do this to both sides too. This is the descending colon. You would be coming on the ascending colon. You don't need to know all that stuff about the flexures and everything to make this thing work. It's really good visceral work, and the ladies love it, okay?